Steve Dangle Podcast. Powered by Sports Interaction. Want to bet?
The Steve Dangle Podcast. With your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Hey, don't forget to get on to Dangle Picks.
Woo!
DanglePicks.com. There's maybe one more game of DanglePicks.com for you. Just having a look right now at the scoreboard.
How'd I do?
Yeah, how did you do? I want to know. Oh, you know what? They haven't tallied the results yet because even they. Oh no! Hey, so Jesse forgot to do his.
Did I?
Yeah, you didn't show up. Yeah, you didn't show up.
Look at the wheels turning. Maybe I didn't submit the picks or something.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
Oh, that's
more
stupid.
like Dangle didn't submit the
So-
I feel bad.
1,349 of you entered for the Chris Pronger signed jersey or the $250 SDPN voucher or the $100 SDPN voucher. And it looks as well. I'll save the announcements because I haven't got the official email yet because they always like to score the tallies behind the scenes. But I will tell you this: Steve and I tied. Tied.
Okay.
With 2 points each.
No way.
We got one question right each.
Did either of us finish in the top 1,000?
No. I was 1123 and you were 1302.
Out of how many?
Out of 1349. That's what happens when you bet on the Leafs, man.
I didn't do my picks, and I almost beat you guys.
I know.
You're,
Oh my God.
You're only a couple hundred behind me, man.
Yeah,
Like it ain't much. It ain't
I was
much.
challenging you.
Yeah. Now listen. This is going to be if you're waiting for us to talk
my
about who the Leafs are going to trade this offseason, wait longer because it's not happening.
That's Thursday.
Hopefully not. But I do want to say that today's show is about meeting the moment. Today's show is about teams meeting their moment and how they react when the moment comes. Because you train and you play or whatever. And I figured that this moment would be a lot better with some pizza. So I'd like to welcome on new SGP sponsor, Pizza Nova. I'm not kidding. Justin, can you bring the pizza in? Would that be okay? They also brought French fries. They're celebrating 60 years. And we just want to do a quick shout out to them. You'll hear from them more later on in the show. But sometimes a little bit of pizza.
Can you grab the dips? They're in the little bag.
They've been around almost as long as the cup drought.
That's right.
Let's go.
I didn't know we were getting to do this off the top.
Well, I mean,
this
listen,
is a nice surprise.
we obviously have to do our partnership with them, but I did want to just welcome them to the show because it was nice and lovely and beautiful. And Pizza Nova celebrating 60 years in your community.
They put the meat lovers in front of me.
All right, Steve, sing
that.
it.
What?
Wanna Fanta, Fanta, Fanta. Wanna Fanta.
No.
So, no, I don't. No, thank you. So,
I'm not.
So to kick off, honestly, to kick off the show, it smells amazing in here. We're not going to eat on mic, by the way. We're not going to do that ASMR.
Why?
Because,
you're so wrong about
because
that.
we're not. You're not doing that.
You're
we're not
so
doing that.
wrong.
We're past those days. No more eating on mic. All right?
You're wrong.
Okay, I know there's fries. Are there wings as well?
Those are fries.
These are fries.
Yeah.
Are there wings as well?
think those are
Nova's
fries.
wings are so good.
I think they're fries.
I think we got fries.
Listen.
Steve.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Can we get into the show, please?
You put pizza in front of
Guys,
us.
you can't eat on mic.
Okay.
I don't know
Okay.
about that.
I just want to talk about the options you put in front of me.
Uh-huh.
Pizza,
Yeah.
like pizza party. Are they wings?
They're the wings.
Pizza and wings party. Or talking about the Leafs
Guys, have some self-control.
ruining their
Have some self-control and do not eat on
They're
camera.
not fries. They're wedges. We need to talk about this. The option you put in front of me. Pizza Nova wings versus talking about Game 3.
I'm telling you.
Which one do you think I'm
Listen,
going to pick?
just take that here, Justin. Take the rest of it.
Well, you can't.
Take
Now
it.
I'm just
Get it.
holding
Get
the
it.
wing.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Now, I just want to say this. It is about meeting the moment. This show, and I want that to be the theme.
Meat.
There you go. From Pizza Nova.
M-E-A-T-ing.
The reason I say that is because the Leafs had a moment yesterday they had to meet. This is, a series that they have to this point when Game 3 starts, they have outplayed Florida by every measurable statistic.
Not goals.
Except for goals.
Not goals and winning games.
Well,
So not all of them then.
not all of them. Most measurable statistics.
Expected by whom?
Exactly.
I don't buy it.
And you have people taking responsibility for their troubles, like Mark Giordano saying that he needs to be better. He said it to the media, admitted to it. You have the fact that because of Formula One and Miami Heat basketball, the Florida Panthers, up to an hour before this game, had still not sold it out. You had a must-win game with a lineup that really lends itself to winning if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs. They went 11-7. You had Bunting, Matthews, Marner, Yarncroke, Tavares, Nylander, Kerfoot, O'Reilly, Achari, Kampf, Lafferty, and then you had Riley Shen, McCabe, Brody, Gustafson Hall, and Giordano, and of course, Sammy starting. We thought Simmons might start. He did dress up for the warm-up.
So did Liljegren.
But Justin Hall is the most notable back in the lineup. And look at that. In the first period, it looks like they're meeting the moment. They knew that this was a must-win game, and it really was the first real must-win game of the season for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Sam Lafferty scores on a great feed on a 2-on-1 from David Kampf, who had an unbelievable game, and that's 2.5 minutes into this.
Game 6 versus Tampa was as must-win because if they went to Game 7, there's no way this squad would have lived up to the moment.
Well,
So it's the second must-win.
there's the percentages, right?
Yeah.
So 4 teams have ever come back from a 3-0 deficit. No Leaf teams in the Matthews-Marner era have won a Game 7. So I would argue Game 6 was more of a must-win.
Right.
Because there is zero proof of concept they could do it.
No, that's fair. Okay, so it's their second must-win.
Yeah.
And they did pretty well in the first one. They won. Mm-hmm. They did it in overtime.
Good for them.
They got outplayed, but they did it.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Hey, here's a fun one from Sportsnet Stats. How many games have the Leafs won in these playoffs not in overtime?
One.
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 Yeah, they've one regulation win this entire playoffs.
It was Game 2.
And that was a 7-2 win versus Tampa.
Sure was.
Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner is
Winning on home ice.
is going to be a talking point today. And Mitch Marner, whenever he's been a talking point this season, and I think it's important to point this out, he's been the best player the Leafs have had this year. Now, you can call that due to injuries. You can call that whatever. I don't care about the excuses. I'm done with the excuses. I don't care how injured anybody was or is. Mitch Marner was the best player this year, bar none, hands down. You can't say anything else to it. But he gets stripped within the first 10 minutes behind his own net by Sam Reinhart.
He was terrible.
Who we'll come back to.
He looked terrible in the first period.
And it's because he's taking way too much time to get set up. Something we talked about in the Tampa series when they're on the power play. He takes a lot of time sometimes to get set up. And it's one thing if you're on the power play and the penalty killer pressures you and you screw up. That's one thing. But behind your own net, a guy's able to come in and take the puck away from you and create a scoring chance.
More than once. No, the Leafs...
You can't do that in the first.
The Leafs'
or ever.
momentum that they had in the first period died on his stick. And you could feel it happen. They were doing all the right things. They were getting chances. Willie was getting extra shifts with the fourth line and doing better than he did with the second line. Because
he did. He did do better with the fourth
top
line.
six was the definition of useless.
Yep.
A absolute liability.
Yeah.
And even though the Leafs were getting their chances from their bottom six, the D hadn't started to play poorly yet. It died on his stick with those giveaways and getting stripped behind the net.
It seemed like he didn't know what to do with the puck. Because after like the first two periods and like Elliott goes on TV and says that Mitch Marner's playing nervous and we all know he's not having a great game after 40 minutes. So like I'm hyper focused in that third period watching Mitch Marner every time he gets the puck. And every time he got the puck, he made either a curious decision where he would just get rid of it really quickly and you could see him just like try and send the puck down deep because I don't know what to do with it, or he would hang on to it and try and make something happen, and he hung on it for too long and he would get stripped and the other team would Florida would grab the puck.
That line's not even kind of working. The Panthers are playing them like a fiddle. They're making that line work through Bunting. They're making him the puck carrier.
I thought Bunting was really good.
He's trying his ass off, but what he has to do is just something he's not capable of doing. And he's skating into 1-on-4s every shift and getting beat up and knocked down, and he can't do this on his own. Now, you do have to give the Panthers some credit for completely neutralizing Marner and Matthews.
I do want to say that there was more good news in the first period if you're a Leafs fan. And we forget this. Morgan Rielly extended his point streak to 8 games, joined Austin Matthews as the second player to match the longest run in Maple Leafs history. Evan Bouchard is the other guy who's done it this Stanley Cup playoffs. And
8-game point streak.
The 2023 for a defenseman. The 2023 Stanley Cup playoffs are just the third in NHL history to feature multiple blue liners with 8-game point runs. The others, Brian Leetch and Larry Murphy in 1992. And Larry Robinson and Brad Park, all of those guys are Hall of Famers in 1978.
Which duo you taking? Gun to the earth. You want Bouchard and Riley? You want Murphy? Who you got?
I got Leetch and Murphy, I think. Although Larry Robinson and Brad Park, pretty hard to argue.
I got Iguodala.
There you go.
Yeah. So listen, after the Leafs scored that first goal, Florida dominated. You guys kind of mentioned it. And there was almost like a weird dark joke making the rounds on Twitter. Like, well, Florida did this to the Leafs, right? Like the Leafs dominated them and Florida won. So maybe it's our turn. Mm-hmm. It was not our turn.
Analytics is getting its ass kicked these playoffs.
Yeah. Sammy, at the beginning of the second period, Samsonov and Shen have a big collision after Shen tried to tie up Carter Verhaeghe on a rush. Shen probably saved a goal, but Samsonov, we talked about it on Friday's show, probably was injured anyway from some players falling on him. That, to me, looked like a separated shoulder.
If he's... I think if he was healthy, he might stay in that game. But the bump, I think, compounded whatever he was also dealing with. And it's just like, you throw your hands up. I'm just going to leave.
And
this
Shen's
is done.
a freight train.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's such a muscly guy, right?
Yeah, I have no idea. Like, because his leg slams into the post, too.
Yeah.
Head, neck, shoulder, take your pick.
Maybe just hurt.
Everything.
Yeah, he came out of it.
We're done here, Sammy. Get a goalie who's healthy in there.
So, according to Mike Zeisberger a couple minutes ago for NHL.com, Mike is reporting that Sammy is going for a precautionary MRI, but that's all we know.
I'm surprised
I don't know if that's
he
good or
hasn't
bad.
had it yet.
Usually they let 24 hours go so the swelling can go down. Because they can't image it right away if it's swollen. That's from what I understand.
I believe that's the correct answer.
How about that?
There you go.
But
medical degree wild.
yeah, there you go.
As a lawyer, a doctor.
Dropped out of university degree.
Yeah. Just as educated as those guys in the 1800s used to just cut your arm off. Well, you got a scratch, cut his arm off.
Wasn't they the leeches?
Oh,
leeches were huge.
Yeah.
In the 1800s. Leeches they peaked.
Yeah.
Like 100 years
They
ago.
were having a moment.
They had a moment.
Yeah,
They had
sure.
a vogue.
Get at me, Leech Queen.
Poor leeches.
So
Slay my lord.
let's see what Joseph Wool can do, right? And the one thing I like about him, we talked about this on Friday, is the guy never loses his posts. And you can't blame him for the next 5 minutes when Anthony Duclair gets sprung on a breakaway with 1 second left in the power play. Now, this is a McCabe and Hall misread. And I want to shout out Mike in Buffalo, former guest on the show. And Jesse, I'm going to send you over this thing. This is Hockey Night in Canada actually did this breakdown. And it's a video, so we'll have to screen grab it. But you can see where the miscommunication happens between Hall and McCabe. I have to tell you that as much as we want to dump on Justin Hall, and he seems like a great guy, teammates sure love him, he's played like crap in these playoffs. All three of those things are true.
Yep.
I don't think Jake McCabe has had a very good series.
He's been terrible.
And I love Jake McCabe. And I have to tell you, I'm not thrilled with how this is going.
I'll love him more when he stops playing terrible.
There you go.
2 more years of terrible.
So,
it's gonna be no. The series isn't over yet. I can't talk about things with finality. Last night's LFR was difficult.
I bet it was.
Like to talk about this team, but
so
that pair, when it's on, it's on.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's on, it goes through Brody.
Yes.
And so many Leafs absolutely buckle without their babysitter there.
Well, and this is so what's interesting about this is you see Justin Hall is doing a bunch of busy nothing. Like McCabe is
King of it.
in a spot where he needs to be. Duclair is behind Justin Hall. Do we have that up?
So
on
we
screen?
got a screenshot right now on the screen. Is this what you're talking about?
So, okay, look at where Duclair is. Look at where McCabe is. He's in position. Where's Hall?
Just hanging out.
So then,
Just by center ice.
so if you
going
go
for a
to
skate.
5 seconds into that video, Jesse, if you can screen grab to that. I don't know if you can. Look at how this play changes. Again, he's had 5 total seconds to change and cover a man and get a man, and it's almost as though he doesn't know he's there.
Duclair's standing there like Alexander Ovechkin.
And then you see Duclair move across the ice, as Jesse's just pointed out, and look at that. Catches.
Where's he going?
What is McCabe going to do there? Like, what's he going to do? There's nothing he could do. That's just Justin Hall not looking.
No, the Wi-Fi for his phone is on the Leafs bench, and he was just going closer there to get a good signal. I don't know.
And you know, you can't fault Joseph Wall for that because...
No, it's a great goal.
He did the full split.
Yeah.
It was a great move from Duclair.
It was a great move from Duclair. And then, here's the great thing. The Leafs come back.
Mm-hmm.
Show some fight.
Hooray!
William Nylander, who looked really good on the fourth line, sets up Gustafsson, who sets up, we think it's Kampf, except it's not. It actually doesn't go off Kampf. It goes off Mark Stahl. And great news, because the Panthers have dominated most of the period. That Gustafsson goal was the second shot on goal of the Leafs in the entire period, and that was midway through.
Lol.
And so this is where you're gonna go, okay, well, maybe they're getting some bounces tonight.
Hey.
Wouldn't that be cool?
What a great way to look at it.
That's what I'm looking at. I'm like,
super good, Adam.
They're getting bounces. They're getting bounces. And then you see Florida gets their bounce. And that's Radko Gudas firing one on a screen Joseph Wall. Again, another one you can't blame him for. It bounces off Carter Verhaeghe's ass and goes in.
There's a really funny screenshot of McCabe. The puck is like and he's looking here. He has no idea where the shot's going. And the redirect fooled him. So what chance does Joseph Woll got?
Exactly.
A demonic bounce on the thing.
Now, later in the periods, one of the things that the Leafs have been brutal with and that are an absolute killer is letting in a goal. Everybody says the last minute. The last 2 minutes for me. It's always the last 2 minutes that suck.
Yep.
And Toronto gets a penalty. It's Morgan Riley interfering with Anthony Duclair. It's called holding. And Bieksa called it a weak call. A former referee online called it a great call. But there's a reason that they're a former. Could have been a penalty shot, I think, maybe. But Woll basically stood tall on the penalty kill. They were able to kill the minute 30 before the period ends. And, you go into the second period intermission, and you think, okay, time for the big four to step up. You got depth goals. Gustafsson, Lafferty. Confident on both of them.
Gustafsson and Kampf led the Leafs in shots on goal.
And then we also find out, by the way, that Sammy will not return to the game. The big four, sorry, I should say this. The big four at this point in the game, that's Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Nylander. Between the four of them, and these are guys that they average about 5 shots a game. In the four of them, they have 3 total shots. Not 3 shots a player, 3 shots total.
This is going into the third.
Going into the third.
Yeah.
Oh. So Sammy's not going to return. We got that. Leafs kill the last 30 seconds of the penalty. Some positive momentum. Matthews gets a shot from his area.
Yeah. That was the first time Matthews did something on the offensive end since hitting the post. He went from
I was about to say.
He went from the post until the third, and he was a zero offensively.
He wasn't able to contribute a thing.
He made some really nice plays defensively, which was awesome. Didn't seem that he's still responsible, but we're asking you here to show up and score some goals. Hart Trophy winner.
I like that Matthews can do those things. I hate when he has to do them.
Yeah.
The defensive end and blocking shots.
Well, and then he blocks a shot off the mid part of his back. And you could tell it stung, and I was like, oh God, please don't leave this game. Please don't make this the thing. He stays on the ice. And Joseph Wool makes a play. He gets out of the net, and I actually tweeted, if you're a Wool tender.
Oh, that's clever.
Thank you. And makes the play to Justin Hall, who gets stripped almost immediately, and it causes a scoring opportunity. And I have in my notes here, and this is where I don't like dumping on people like this, but I wrote, this guy stinks. I can't even hold it back anymore.
Dude, they're going down with the ship. Mm-hmm. I mean, who knows?
And
maybe the ship will, it's mostly capsized, but you never know. Maybe a good old easterly wind will go whoosh, and it'll come out of the water like fucking Captain Jack Sparrow and just the Black Pearl or whatever. It's been a long time since I've seen the movies, but they're going down with the ship.
4 minutes left to go. Ryan O'Reilly gives away the puck at his own blue line, literally passes it to a Florida Panther, and Joseph Wool stands tall again.
Producer Drew was like, what is it about that crest?
Well, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. Let me ask you this. This is where, okay, we know that, and there was a Cubs pitcher, and he was also a Boston pitcher for a while, that did not throw to first base because he has what's called the yips. Oh. And the yips are a mental block. It was John Lester, I think. John Lester would not throw to first base ever because every time he did, he'd overthrow it. So he got so in his head about it that teams would just say, John, just hold it. We just hold it. Don't even worry about it. We'll take the single because we can't have the double with you throwing to first. We'd rather limit the damage.
So, not on the mound. You're talking about, the ball is in play.
No, if John Lester picks the ball up off the ground, he can't pass it. He can't throw it to the first baseman.
That bad?
It's in the book about the Cubs World Series run. You should read the book. It's amazing.
Oh, my God. Okay.
It's an amazing, amazing book on baseball. I loved it. And I think the same author did the one on the Astros, but then the Astros one is all, tainted because it was cheating. But
Adam, why would I want to read a book about a team who never wins finally winning?
Well, that's why I read it. And apparently, it's also one of Kyle Dubas' favorite books. So that's specifically why I read it. And so
that's great.
I began to think, I'm like, this team could have the yips, but it could be a team-wide thing. This is how irrational it's become. Does this entire and then to Drew's point, when you put on the Leafs jersey, do you then also have the yips eventually because it's built into the culture here?
It's impossible to know how good or bad the Florida Panthers are. Oh man, they're so good at making teams make mistakes.
They're a good team.
No, I know they're a good team, but oh man, they really force you into making mistakes. They're playing the Leafs.
I don't think Ryan O'Reilly acquired a cursed stone when he joined the Toronto Maple Leafs.
You don't know that for sure.
Could there be a mental block there for this team?
I don't think Ryan O'Reilly has that.
I hope not.
How would he gather that?
And I would let him. He's the one guy on this team I let off the hook for.
Yeah,
that. I let him off the hook for that anytime.
I don't know. That was awful. You fold the franchise if that goal goes in. Through the
you texted
Sam
that.
Bennett through the legs to end their season.
Oh,
could you imagine?
The city'd be on fire right now.
So thank God it didn't go in. But
great stuff from Wool. Wool tracks it the whole time. He wasn't fooled by the move.
No.
Yeah, it was really good.
Sam Bennett.
So it would be to your point, Adam. I'm trying to get to the crux of what it could be. If it's the guys who lead the team, so Tavares, Matthews, Marner. If they're nervous, if they have this energy where they don't believe they can get it done because all the weight of the world is on their shoulders, and the history of this team and the history of them never getting it done, maybe they carry that energy in the locker room and it spreads to their teammates. And you have instances where you have a veteran in Ryan O'Reilly who's a Conn Smythe winner who seems unflappable making mistakes like this because he's feeding off the energy of the star players on the team.
That seems reasonable. That's sort of what I'm saying,
Jesse,
right?
I want you to take that and put it in a little box and you write Thursday on it. Okay?
Yeah.
We need to get back to that.
Yeah.
We 100% need to get back to
it.
Or throw it out the window.
Hey.
And never speak of it again.
You mean next Tuesday?
You know what?
After Game 7.
You're right. You brought up Sam Bennett and the between the legs goal.
Almost goal.
The between the legs almost goal. But you got to give the Leafs credit for making him regret what he did. Boy, he didn't know a moment's peace last night, did he?
We all seem to forget that was last game where Sam Bennett took out a literal teenager.
I had people
Almost
who were
teenager.
people
That's
were
20, it's 20 now, yeah.
People were reaching out to me, and I there'd be no way to verify this, but there were actual people in my DMs. This is how crazy it is to be a Leaf fan sometimes. And they're like, I teach martial arts. That was a martial arts move.
Yeah, he
Probably takes martial arts. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't
Undertaker
know that
looked at
Sam
that
Bennett
and was
takes-
like, that's a great move.
Yeah, but you can't do that, right? And the Leafs let him know.
That's the
They
thing.
let him know.
If the
They
Leafs
push
not gonna
back.
let him know.
They push back in the way that we all know they can and do all the time.
No one took a run at him all game.
At who?
Sam Bennett.
Not
Who's
one.
Sam Bennett?
He plays for the Florida Panthers.
Oh, but what's notable about him?
He once chokeslammed Matthew Nyes to the ice.
What? Oh, I better. Well, maybe not me. Noel? Is Noel here?
A charge?
Luke? Jake? Any of the big tough meanies that we got at the deadline? I'm certainly not going to do it.
Don't do that.
This
please.
team.
Yeah,
you're right.
please.
That was bad.
Now, hold
Brand
on.
new
done
table.
that.
We're not done recapping this game.
Just the antithesis of what this city wants in a hockey team. That was cowardly and pathetic.
The Leafs do not look dangerous in the last minute. Justin Hall is out there to kill the Florida Panthers' pressure. And again, I write in my notes, I cannot understand this team's love of this player. He's been terrible all game, all playoffs. They scratched him because he was the least efficient player in the first round. They scratched him in Game 6 for this reason. And you got Keefe, after what we just showed you, with the declare goal when he was out there paired with McCabe on the penalty kill, you got Keefe putting him out there again. And I get showing faith in your guy. I get it. But this ain't the time for faith. This is time for guarantee. And
Why aren't the other guys your guy? Why aren't better players ever the coach's guy?
I think because a coach always needs to have there's found value there.
I'm so fucking smart. They need to have the I'm so fucking smart guy.
So
And
Who
he's
would've
so
played?
fucking smart.
Who would have played on the penalty kill if it wasn't for Justin Hall?
Oh, a better player, I think.
They don't
Do you
have
think-
other defensemen who can play on the penalty kill.
No, they don't have six other defensemen dressed
Sheldon
that
Keefe
game.
needs Justin Hall to play all of the penalty kill, else the team's going to fall apart.
He played 1925.
Yep.
Yeah.
He played
Like what other
just
player,
shy of Luke Shen.
what other player is so bad they get scratched and then come back and play 19 minutes? in the
3
first-
minutes shorthanded.
Yeah, enough out of you. Enough out of all of you.
So then so my third
I've never had to save it.
I always make
They're
notes
not done.
about each.
They're not done.
I make
You're
notes
right.
about each third period.
Go Leafs, go.
I make notes after every period, and my third period thoughts are Leafs just do not look good. In overtime, Reinhardt ends it about 2.5 minutes in. Leafs
Is that all it was?
gave the puck to him again. I could check this specific time if you care.
No.
302.
There you go.
They didn't touch him.
They didn't touch him. And then so here's what it is, guys. Like you saw the expected goals charts probably floating around online. You saw the deserve to win a
Get outta
meter,
here.
which the Panthers finally won the deserve to win a meter.
The deserve a win to meter is more wrong than it is right.
And that
So
was their-
maybe it's not right.
It was their 7th win of the playoffs and the first time out of 7 that it had them as the favorite.
So
Maybe
Could
it's,
it
maybe
be?
it's better for the regular season, and then the
don't
playoffs are
know.
different.
So could it be useless?
well,
I don't know.
The
I don't
Panthers
know.
are also designed to be one of those teams that fuck up the meter.
Yeah.
They
The
rope
meter
it
doesn't
out.
work.
No.
If the whole thing is it's supposed to predict who is going to win and it doesn't do that, then it's broken.
I don't
Analytics suck these playoffs.
I don't. Well, here's the thing: it's a publicly available analytics, so a lot
Yes.
different than what the teams are looking at.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and I think. Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
they're building these models off of information that is inaccurate. Rachel Dory had a great tweet about Mitch Marner's giveaways. He had 0 giveaways through, I think, the whole game. Like, I don't know what the final tally was, but for most of the game.
He had what?
And that's just not true. So if you're basing these things off of these numbers that you're getting that are inaccurate, then the thing you're producing is inaccurate. So I don't tell me the Leafs should win and they should expect to win these games. So we got to trust the process. No. Trust what your eyes are seeing, the results of the game.
Is that random couple that makes the MLB schedule every year? Is their second job just tracking stats for the NHL?
They are.
The giveaway.
I can't really speak to the actual chart itself, but I'll tell you this: there's a lot of fans who I think are looking for something to hold on to. Well, at least we got this battle. And if the deserve to win a meter gives you some peace, that's cool. But it didn't last night.
Mitch Marner ended the game with 1 giveaway, according to NHL stats.
Well, that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
That's incorrect.
Here's the thing. It isn't that they lost.
It's a little that they lost.
Oh, but it isn't really. It's how.
Yeah.
It's how. And this is when I bring it back to, this is why I started the show with meeting the moment. This was the moment. And if you played like you did in game 1 and you lost, I'm still going to eat shit from Panthers fans who hate me right now, and that's fair. But I at least as a fan can go, okay, it's fucking hockey and it's chaotic and it's hard to measure and shit happens. 3 games in a row kills me, but it happens. But when you lose like this, when your best players are your worst players, the Leafs' best players last night are their worst players. And that's not a slight against David Kampf and Sam Lafferty. Those guys can't be the best players. The big 4 were, in a word, invisible. And that is where it becomes unacceptable.
Drew, who was Colorado's best player in the first round last year? Exactly. Fucking exactly. What have you done for me lately?
Well, because
he had 12 points and 11 points. Gives a fuck. It's not the first round anymore, is it?
Yeah.
It's the second round. This is why I didn't want to rain on the parade when they beat the Lightning. You're a quarter of the way there. If the Leafs pull off a miracle comeback and do something 4 teams have ever done in the more than 100-year history of the National Hockey League, they'll be halfway there. Gives a fuck what you did in the first round. Who cares? Second round, and they're blowing it. I don't care. But maybe their Stanley Cup,
it was last week,
was 8 or 9 days ago.
Well, they're sure playing like it.
Yeah.
And I listen, we're saying this all in the context of now. And if the Leafs came back and there's a miracle comeback, I'm sure somebody's going to grab the video and go, these idiots didn't believe and blah, blah, blah. I don't care.
As opposed to what? Fuck yourself.
So I think the fact is the star players were invisible tonight or last night, and I'm going to tweet out.
Adam, that's not fair. I saw them give it away behind the net and beside the net.
But this is the thing, right? Like it's sort of like, people I think were saying, Mitch Marner, wake up, man. Austin Matthews, wake up. And I saw there's the Leaf fans that are sad, and then there's the Leaf fans that are like overly militantly happy. Like, you cannot be upset with the Leafs ever, otherwise you don't love them.
That's gaslighting.
It's bullshit. And they're saying, I can't understand. I saw people saying, I can't understand how people are saying Matthews and Marner are having a bad time. They've got 12 and 11 points. 8 of Mitch Marner's points came in the first 3 games, guys. So that means he's had 4 and 6 afterwards.
How many goals?
I don't know why you could be happy with that.
How many goals does Mitch Marner, John Tavares, William Nylander, and Austin Matthews have this series?
0.
And
that's correct. Well done.
After last night, though, I'm hesitant to lump Nylander in there because he was taxed with being more effective in Game 3, and he was with Kampf and healthy scratch guy.
David Kampf was the best player.
Kampf and Lafferty were good. They were generally a net positive. And where the fuck were Tavares and Yarncroke? And by Tavares and Yarncroke, I mean Tavares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell are we yelling at?
Yarncroke makes $2.5 million. Like, what are we really mad about?
Yeah. No. Willie did have a decent game, but you go back to the first 2 periods of games 2. Yep. Where was he?
Game 1, he was bad.
He wasn't there.
Yep.
So I don't, Adam. You always do this thing where you don't always do. Sometimes you ask us. You'll be like, "How do you feel?"
That's what I want to know.
I was waiting for you to get to that.
I want to know how you feel, and then I'm going to read you some quotes, and then I want to know how you feel. That's what I'm going to do. So play the game, Jesse. Go ahead.
For you to get to that moment because you love asking it. It's a very good question, and it always sparks interesting answers. And I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, how did I feel? And after I was shocked.
Oh yeah, me too. I really did think they were going to do it.
I'm genuinely shocked that we are at this point again, because you look at the players they have and the resume that they've built over the last 7 years of being with this franchise. Austin Matthews is a Rocket Richard Trophy winner. He is a Hart Trophy winner. Mitch Marner, if he sticks around here, is going to lead the franchise in points for the next 100 years.
Yes, no question.
Selke is a
William Nylander is unfazed by anything and shows up in every moment when he's dialed in. Mm-hmm. Things don't faze him.
So not every
John Tavares, not every moment. He's an elite goal scorer, and he turned into that this year. He put up 40 goals. John Tavares is the captain and showed up last round by scoring the OT winner to send them into the second round.
And they needed a shift where, I still love that goal so much because he had a dog shit game and just decided, you know what, I'm going to have a Hercules shift. And he just willed that puck into the net.
Keefe yelling him, go forehand, and he does it. Oh, my heart. And I'm shocked that 3 games later, those guys couldn't get it done. That's why. So when there's a whole bunch of people are writing postmortems already, they're doing the whole blow it up thing. And
it's too early.
I look at the group of guys, and I'm shocked that with everything they've done, we've reached this point where we're doing this again, where we got to get rid of them. And it's disbelief more than anything. And I don't know how to react to that disbelief. I'm just kind of shocked.
And, the Leafs are morons for not having Dubas locked up, to there's no fathomable way you bring him back.
See, I'm still on the train that they should bring him back.
Well, we'll save that.
And I'm shocked that we're having that conversation.
Yeah, it should not be.
Doesn't have a job locked up.
I thought we slammed that book shut. And
and again, the reason for that is not that they've lost, it's how.
Yeah.
And look at, I want to read you this Dom Decision tweet. I want to know if you would disagree with this. Based on the context of the situation, this might be the worst game of Matthews and Marner's career.
Yep.
How do you disagree with that?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Game 6 versus Montreal was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But at least, I guess at least then they had the excuse that Tavares had gone out and
I thought Matthews was decent in that Montreal series.
He was.
He was. Absolutely.
Him, being lost.
I think Mitch had a bad series that year.
Willie was better than both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. He was masterful.
Yeah, I was talking about with Willie. Willie always shows up in these playoffs, and then now he's just been non-existent in a couple of games.
Here's what it comes down to, right? Because I was thinking about this. I was like, are we picking on certain guys? It's not about that. It's not about can you win with William Nylander? Can you win with Mitch Marner? Can you win with John Tavares? Can you win with Austin Matthews? It's
can they win together?
Can they win together? I have no doubt. In fact, I would put money on those guys leaving the Leafs, going somewhere else, and hoisting the cup above them.
I would put money on it too. I'm with you.
Mitch Marner goes somewhere else.
Yep.
He is winning the Stanley Cup. Mark it down.
And then he's telling everybody to kiss his ass.
He's a top 10 player in the NHL.
When he feels like it. And what we're seeing here is the criticism all along was not these guys are a bunch of dumb, stupid children and they don't know how to play hockey properly. It was, you can't win with this much money tied up in these guys. Mm-hmm. And Dubas tinkered and tinkered and tinkered. And again, this just feels like we're having the Thursday conversation. But it's becoming more and more apparent that this core is untenable.
Well,
you can't.
It's Thursday.
Nope. Nope.
If they do something for the 5th time ever, then yeah, I'll eat my words.
Yeah, then they're the Red Sox. After
I
breaking the
want
curse.
to eat my words.
You know,
I want
The Red Sox down 3-0.
that's the year they broke the curse and won the World Series. Is the year they came back in the ALCS to the New York Yankees down 3-0.
That's crazy.
That was the magical David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez run.
Guys,
Pedro
I
Martinez,
want to
that
be
team was
wrong.
unreal.
Now let me read you these quotes. From Austin Matthews, a couple of posts. Stuff's just not falling, but you can't get discouraged. You just got to keep pushing, keep putting our work before everything else, and just believe and have faith in each other that we're going to break through. It's do or die now. And I think the do or die quote really got to people because Game 3 was do or die.
That was yesterday. You guys.
You know, that remember that quote.
And he said, sometimes it goes in, sometimes it doesn't.
Who's this, Mitch?
That's Austin. And then
Austin?
Mitch added this. I don't think we can get frustrated. We just have to stick to our abilities. Once you get frustrated, things just don't go well for you at all. We've had our looks. It just hasn't gone for us.
Those quotes are going to be so famous with regard to how unflappable they are if they pull off the miracle. But until until that miracle shows its head.
That's such a good point.
They never lost faith. They always knew. But if they don't pull it off, everyone's just going to be like, we're talking to a wall.
Well,
We're talking to a cardboard fucking box.
That's good shit.
I would highly recommend you reading CJ's article from today. And I don't know if this was a writer's choice or not, but he didn't even bother to quote them. It was the only article I read where he didn't bother.
They didn't quote the player?
He didn't quote the players. He didn't use any other quotes. Everybody else that follows the team, writes on the team. CJ was there. He was asking questions. Not a single quote made it, and I think that says something.
Do either of you want to hear a fucking thing this team has to say right now?
Well, then I think probably that was CJ's point.
There you go.
He said, 8 days ago, on the other side of the state, we were briefly given reason to believe that this was a different version of the Maple Leafs. Oops. That is his opening line. And CJ, if you listen to the CJ show, is famously very fair. He's very fair. He'll tell it like it is, but he's not going to do it in a way that, you know, assassinates character or aims to hurt or takes cheap shots like we see from so many other people. He doesn't do that. But this is their first 3-game losing streak since October. And I highly recommend you check this out.
They haven't lost 4 games in a row this season.
Before Halloween.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's going to be, and I know that there are multiple viewpoints on this. If they lose on Wednesday or if they lose on Sunday, because remember, we don't get a game. We don't get
Friday.
Game 4 till Sunday. Oh, we do get it Friday?
It's Friday.
Oh, we get the game Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Friday. It's Friday, Sunday, or it's Wednesday, Friday, Sunday.
Oh, okay.
There's only 2-day breaks in the middle of a Stanley Cup playoff series.
Oh, thank God.
So the NHL schedule is fucked up.
What a fucking house league.
Yeah. So we're going to find out Wednesday, and we're going to find out maybe Friday. Maybe. Jerry D just tweeted out, he's like, listen, if they can just pull out the win in Florida, then they go home, and he's like, then they can win again, and then it's 3-2, and then you start to get on, Florida's starting to worry. Here's the problem. They have one home game win in the playoffs.
I know. Florida hasn't been good at home. The Leafs have been great on the road.
Yeah.
That game was hand-picked for the Leafs to win.
Sure felt like it. And you know what I want to say? I think that the most telling thing about this playoffs did not have to do with the Leafs, but I think it says a lot about the Leafs. When the Edmonton Oilers played Game 1 against Vegas and lost, Leon Draisaitl scored 4 goals. He had more goals in that game than the Leafs' big 4 had shots in the first 2 periods last night.
Oilers fans, I'll tee it up for you on a silver platter, and you can clip this and share this as far and wide as you want. Draisaitl's better than anyone the Leafs got. It's not even close.
He's probably better than any Leaf in history.
I'll say
that.
close.
It's not even close.
Not even
and
close.
We're forgetting McDavid, but for, you know.
Oh, they have 2 players that are better than any Leaf ever.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's
not even close.
currently.
Yes.
Currently.
What
And
was
those two players don't even come close to the best Oilers ever.
Adam was trying to make a point.
I don't give a shit.
So my point was, no, but I don't mind that aside. And definitely Oilers fans should clip that.
Go for it. Just credit us for God's sake.
When Leon scored 4 goals and the team lost to Vegas, he said, guys, that is not the type of game that we play. And he said it to the media, and he was pissed off.
He was pissy.
And he was pissy. He was pissy Leon. And he was frank about where this team was and what he expected from them. And what I did not see in the quotes last night or any game this entire playoff is from the Leaf players, we were not good enough. Mm-hmm. The fans would feel a heck of a lot better if you just said, well, we were pretty shitty tonight. Mm. But they just won't do that. And I think I want to give the Edmonton Oilers and specifically Leon Draisaitl a huge round of applause for saying, I might have scored 4 goals, but I don't fucking care. We got to win the game.
No, but
and he's breaking records that are 100 years old.
But Draisaitl said a bunch of those words, though, but then the Oilers still folded like a cheap suit in game 2.
No, they won.
Oh, wait, no. They reached through the Vegas Golden Knights' chest and pulled their fucking spine out of their body. Because that is what elite players do, and we just don't have them.
And what do you say, guys? Mm-hmm. What do you say to the people, well, what if they're injured?
Let's pause the playoffs then.
The Leafs?
Yeah.
Like, what are the?
There are people making that argument today. What do you say to them?
I didn't see any Bruins fan make that argument, and they could have very easily done that with the Bruins. Bergeron playing hurt, and
Krejci probably playing hurt.
Mark. Yeah. All of those fans, because of all the sports that they cheer for, expect to win. And when they had one of the biggest chokes in NHL history by being the 65-win President's Trophy winner and losing in the first round, all of them just went, fuck. We lost. We choked. I can't believe this might be it for Bergeron. And at the end of the day, he played.
Yep.
He wasn't like, oh, you know what? We would have won if I was healthy. He didn't say that. They didn't give us any of that. So they lost and they didn't whine about it.
Mitch Marner has 4 goals in his last 34 playoff games.
Huh?
Fuck.
How many points?
I don't know.
A lot. He has a lot of assists.
In game 1s, he has 4 goals and 5 assists. In game 2s, 4 goals, 7 assists. In game 3s, 0 and 8 assists. Game 4s, 0 and 9. In game 5s, 0 and 4. In game 6s, a 1 and 1. And game 7s, 0 and 2.
It's a long series. Long series.
Leon Draisaitl has scored as many goals as the Leafs' Big Four.
My favorite stat that I made up myself yesterday, Carter Verhaeghe, when he scored yesterday, reset the Panthers' franchise goal record for playoff goals with 12. Mm-hmm. That's career. Not this year, career. Mm-hmm. Draisaitl has more goals in these playoffs than any Panther has ever got over their career in the playoffs ever.
We did that last episode.
Yeah, except no, he's got 13 now.
Yeah, because it went off his buttski.
Oh, did we? Yeah. Well, Jesse, it was great to bring up then, and it was still great now.
Because
I'm very good at this.
Remember we started talking about how they would never, like Draisaitl and McDavid could never set any playoff records for the Oilers, and that's blah, blah, blah.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Now,
there's us being wrong.
Another team last night, I don't know if you heard of them, they were down 2-0.
In the series?
They were down 2-0 in their series. And you know what they did?
Are we done with the Leafs?
Oh, we don't have to be. I was just gonna give the Devils a shout out. You know what they did in the first period? They scored 3 fucking goals.
Nah.
And they won 8-4. Now we'll get to that. But I just want to say they came out and said they made a statement, did they not? Mm-hmm. Sorry, Jesse. What do you want to say?
No, I didn't know if we were talking. I wanted to talk about the Devils, or if we were talking about Leafs.
No. We're going to talk about. Okay. We're going to talk to Dave, and then we're going to talk about the Devils. But I just want to throw that out there. That is how you take a 2-0. And by the way, they were down 2-0 against the Rangers too, if you've forgotten already. So We're not going to have the conversation about blowing up the core and this and that or whatever. It's just not a conversation worth having. Could always be Thursday. I hope
It
it's
might not be.
I think that the thing.
I hope it's fucking not, so that they can keep playing games and I can keep making videos. Oh, sorry. What I meant to say was, I hope this ends as soon as possible. I hope the thing that I cover for a living dries up immediately. Ooh.
Don't worry about those people.
Fucking idiots.
I just want to say, I hope that all this changes. I hope that the things that we've outlined, I'm not going to make any bold predictions because I can't. The Toronto Maple Leafs are unimaginably unpredictable and yet so predictable in the sense that there's a letdown coming. And I think that's what the majority of Leafs Nation is feeling this morning. There are those who are militant out there going, nope, we will be happy, stiff upper lip everybody. But for most of us, we are experiencing pre-heartbreak. When you know the breakup's coming, when they're starting to ghost you, they're starting to stop calling and they're not texting as quickly and they don't find your jokes as funny and you're trying to hold on to what's there. But you're finding out that maybe nothing's there at all.
It's a little specific.
Listen, I've been through it.
Yeah.
All I'm trying to say is
I think your jokes are funny.
I hope right now is the lowest it gets and we see an absolute fucking miracle.
I think your jokes are very funny. Adam.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I never want to break up with you. Sorry, am I pulling you too hard?
No.
Okay, all right.
I got to shine my ring.
I hope. Oh, yeah, me too.
I've been married too long. I gotta get this polished. You got a fresh one.
Wow. Yeah.
That's a honeymoon ring.
That's my second one.
Is there anything on the inside of yours?
I don't think so.
No. Adam?
Yes, there is.
What do you got?
On the inside of my ring.
If you want to share, you don't have to share with the class.
I love my pookie wookie.
It says "All the Way, My Love," and then it has our wedding date on it.
Oh, that's so lame.
I know. And you know the funny story about this is Natalie got it done, and because we went to a jeweler and got it done, and she put the wrong date down for the jeweler, so they had to take the ring back and remelt it and then redo it.
Oh no, she Adam Deadmarched your ring. That's hilarious.
Isn't that great?
Yes, it is.
I was like, Nat, we didn't get married in September. It was August. She's like, oh, is that?
Oh my gosh.
So anyway,
leave it to a Toronto couple to fuck up their ring.
All we want is to be wrong about
Stanley Cup ring. Listen, they're not all gonna work.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
All we want is to be wrong about all of this. I want to be wrong about my assumptions about this core. I want to be wrong about the history that has led me to feel this way. The chances of that are slim, I'm willing to believe. But if this series ends this way, if we go to game 7 and they lose and they hard fought and whatever, different story. But if this series ends the way that last night went, whether it's game 4, game 5, or even game 6, if they go out with a whimper, that's going to be it for me with this. Not that I'm ever going to stop being a Leaf fan, but I'm going to stop believing that this group can do it. And it doesn't mean that they can't do it separately, but together, I have serious doubts. And I think if you are a Leaf fan, or if you're a hockey watcher, period, how could you not? How could you not? I love these guys too. I want them to succeed, but how could you not doubt them? How could you not? What reason have they given you to say that's a Stanley Cup pedigree team yet? I want to see it. And they have not played well in these playoffs. Don't forget, guys, Tampa. They got outplayed the majority of that series, probably 5 out of 6 games.
And did anyone care?
No, because they won. Because it doesn't matter in the playoffs.
Literally just win. Get outshot 50-5.
And I think we have to say this, and we haven't said this enough. The Florida Panthers are way fucking better than you thought they were.
Way better.
And you means everybody. Me, your uncle, everybody. They are way better than they were given credit for. Way better than Leafs fans gave them credit for coming out of Boston. So give the Florida Panthers their respect. They've been a great team.
Jesse, how long have we been talking?
About 54 minutes.
We didn't bring up 0 penalties once.
We don't need
I
to.
just ruined that.
We don't need to.
But that's not why they lost.
It's that's not why they lost.
It is a hilarious footnote, but it's not what they lost.
If you don't pressure the other team, they won't have to hook you.
Yeah. Also, the Leafs didn't get called on some things.
Yes.
Like the Leafs had 2 penalties, and they probably could have had like 5.
They probably got away with more than Florida did.
Yeah.
Florida did a lot of chippy crap. I don't know if you really call it.
I think they should have taken a penalty on Sam Bennett just for some retribution, but
No, I think the best course of action is nothing.
So
Literally nothing.
let's
at
talk
all.
to Dave, and then we're going to talk about the rest of the series and tonight's draft lottery. I want to know who Jesse and Steve want Connor Bedard to go to, and who they
Leafs.
absolutely do not want him to go to. We'll get into it next.
You can bet that with David Bastel. Brought to you by Sports Interaction. Get in the action and make a play. 19 plus. Please play responsibly.
You know, after that breakdown, and I don't just mean on this show, it is hard to look forward to Game 4, Dave, but here we are. Wednesday night. That's a big smile, by the way.
If you say Toronto are the favorites, I'm kicking the television.
Get your foot ready.
You're kidding. Toronto's the favorite?
I swear to God.
No way, Dave. Come on.
It's slight compared to what we've seen in the past. They're a 1-8-3 on Wednesday's game number 4. The Florida Panthers are 1-9-9.
Oh,
Thoughts?
why?
I'm just saying. Steve, they're supposed to be winning this series.
Yeah. They were the favorite
they were-
coming in.
They
And
were massive favorites to win.
have they
massive
been an
favorites.
underdog in any game this series?
No.
Because you lose game 1, so they're the favorites to win game 2 because you expect them to rebound. They're at home too. Game 3, their back's up against the wall. You're down 2-0. You can't lose this game. They're expected to win again. And now game 4, very similar situation.
Exactly.
I
And the
get
other
what
thing
you're saying.
too, like a quick ABC on betting too, wherever the money goes, the number's going to go down, right? So when Leaf Nation sits there and goes, they got to do it, you keep on throwing money at something and that number's going to go down, making it even a bigger favorite. But right now, it's almost, I'm going to say split favorite. Like if there was a panel of 9 judges, 5 of them would say Leafs, 4 of them would say Panthers. That's what we're looking at with those numbers there. So, and they will go lower, by the way. So if you're betting Maple Leafs, you bet it today. If you think they're going to win on Wednesday, because by Wednesday that number is probably going to be about, I'm going to say a 165.
They're going to be even heavier favorites.
I'm being dead honest with the numbers.
God. All right.
Dave, would you lay your hard-earned money on the Toronto Maple Leafs?
In an individual game, yeah, I would consider it. I'm shocked that we're sitting here 3-love. I really am. Florida's had a nice gutsy effort. They've had the far superior goaltending, but I didn't sit there and think, oh yeah, they're going to be on the verge of a 4-game sweep come Wednesday. What are you kidding me? Really? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Did you think that the big 4 were going to have 1 goal or 3 shots in this? Just so I'm not even a Leaf supporter like you guys, and I'm frustrated by what has happened to this team because this was supposed to be the trip to the conference final.
Yep.
They took less than 10 days to just completely flip the switch, flip the entire narrative right back to what it was.
Oh, it's crazy. Now, the other thing that we should mention is obviously the draft lottery is tonight. So if you were going to put a couple bucks down, and I think I'm going to, who's your favorite, Dave? Who's the favorite?
Well, the favorite right now are the Anaheim Ducks. They have the best odds at getting that number 1 position. You get them at about 4-1, which is a pretty good value considering that they do have the best chance of it. But you know what? I'm more of an off the board kind of guy, and you guys are probably going to hate this, but I'm circling the Montreal Canadiens at almost 8-1 to win this.
I don't hate it.
Really?
Well, I don't hate the Canadiens.
You're going to see Connor Bedard for the next 10 years and you don't hate that?
Oh, I'll hate that. But you know what I would hate? I would hate, and we'll get into this, I would hate for a couple specific teams to be rewarded for bad behavior. At very least, the Montreal Canadiens have done their rebuild right. Yeah. They deserve to start winning games.
On January 13th, I put $2 at plus 900 on the Vancouver Canucks.
Ooh.
They have very not good odds.
No. That would be quite the leap right now.
Yeah, pretty sure if I bet on them today, they'd be even long shots because
they're about 21-1 to win the World.
But
I might as well have bet today.
That's a team that falls into Adam Wild's category of you don't want to see them get Bedard because you don't want them to get rewarded for what's been going on last season.
That's right.
Now I know I never had this conversation with you, Adam, but I'm assuming we're saying no to Chicago, right? Mm-hmm. Are we saying? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
just
right
them, though. There's more coming on that later in the show.
Oh, there sure is.
Oh, yeah. Not just Chicago, though. They're the obvious one. Let's talk about the not so obvious ones. We'll get into that. But Dave, thank you so much. And we're going to see you Thursday or Friday of this week. And we're not totally, we know we're doing a show on Thursday, but we're not sure that we're going to be able to actually talk. So assuming that we can, we'll pull it together. And hopefully there's a game 5 to talk about.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
It'd be great.
That would be nice. So anyway.
Thanks, Dave.
Enjoy the day. We'll talk to you guys in a bit.
Hey, Jesse, can you hit it?
Oh, I
Can you
sure
hit it?
can.
439 Pizza Nova. 439 Pizza Nova.
Founded in 1963, Pizza Nova, family-operated business that's committed to sharing the rich taste of Italy with Canadians. There's 150 locations in Southern Ontario. We're talking about trust, integrity, and authenticity. 60 years. Did the Leafs win the Cup in 63? They did, didn't they?
They did.
It was 62, 63, and 64.
It was.
And then 67. Are you good? You okay? They dropped it by. The month of May is That's Amore for Kids campaign. 50 cents from every dip goes to support Variety, the children's charity of Ontario. The money raised will help Variety Village's programs and services that make a direct impact on the lives of children with disabilities in Ontario. So add a dip to your order to make a difference. And of course, the dips are you ready?
Hit me.
Blue cheese, creamy garlic parmesan, new dill and chive dip, jalapeno ranch dip, new barbecue honey garlic sauce, and new hot honey garlic sauce. Which one are you picking?
Oh, you know what? Purely for curiosity, I want this one, Dill and Chive. It
sounds like a new pop group. Dill and Chive.
I heard about adult taste buds. I used to not like dill.
No.
Now I'm all about dill.
Okay.
I love dill.
Jesse? Jesse, are you also about dill?
I'm all about dill.
I'm not. I love the garlic and parmesan.
Yeah.
That's the classic.
Yeah, that's like
Yes.
That's it.
Well,
right
you guys
there.
are both wimps. I'm going jalapeno ranch because I like that spice in my life. Pizza Nova. Check it out. Again, if you're having a game day craving, contact your closest Pizza Nova for delivery or pickup with over 150 locations in Southern Ontario. Reach out to pizzanova.com or call 439 and enjoy. Before we get going on the Devils and Hurricanes, I do want to talk about Brian O'Reilly. Brian O'Reilly is Ryan O'Reilly's father. He is a motivational coach, and I believe he's an executive coach as well. High performance internal psychology transformation. This is what he does. He said, there's a great feeling cheering for the Leafs that they will come back from this 3-game deficit and win the series. It just feels good to cheer for a team that can do the impossible. So that's what he's putting out there. And I choose to carry Brian's energy all the way through to game 4 on Wednesday. That's what I'm doing.
Big Brian energy.
That's right. That's right. So a big shout out to him for that. The New Jersey Devils opened the scoring 6 minutes into the game with Timo Meier getting his first goal. They were down 2-0, remember? And then 5 minutes later, it's Jack Hughes. And another 2 minutes later, it's Michael McLeod. And really, Nico Hischier scored a minute into the second period. And after that, I mean, yes, Carolina did score some goals, but it really wasn't much of a game after that. Not that it's not exciting, but you know.
3 different Devils scored their first goal of the playoffs. Could be a huge, huge game for them.
It wasn't Timo Meier's first goal. It was his first point.
That's wild.
What?
Yeah,
Absolutely
the entire
nuts.
playoff so far.
And he's been a great playoff performer in his career previously.
Yeah, that's why they got him for these moments. And if this gets the Devils going, like this is their thing, right? Once they get going, they can't be stopped. And for a little bit there, the first 2 games, it reminded me of the 2021 2021-22 Devils of last year, where they were really good, but they got zero goaltending.
Right.
That's what the first two games felt like, where, hey, we can't trust Vanacek or Kierschmidt, but the Devils are really good, but they're getting no goaltending. And here, they just kind of exploded. They got a little bit of goaltending. They didn't really need it when you put up 8 goals, and the Devils could be rolling here. If they win another one, who knows?
That trade for Meyer is still so strange. Just, I don't know. I'll give you nothing, and you give me also nothing, and then we need to add another piece of nothing in order for you to give me almost nothing. And then, there's 3 principal parts, but I think 13 actual parts.
And it worked.
And it's worked so far somehow, even though he hasn't scored until yesterday.
I thought we might have started the segment a different way.
Oh.
And it would have been with confetti and a float and a band playing.
Okay.
Ooh.
And Adam
Sum
Wilde
41?
would be leading the parade.
Oh.
And he would be marching to the tune of Frederick Anderson allowed 4 goals on 12 shots and got shelled.
You know, Jesse, and you've known me for years, I prefer on this show to focus on the positive. And my positive is that Andre Palat got his third of the playoffs in the third. Listen, Freddie's he's either really good or he's really bad in the playoffs. There is no in between Freddie.
I definitely expected Adam to be like, I want to focus on the positive, and that's that Freddie got shelled.
And I was right.
I don't like that. Like I don't want him to not
but your
succeed.
prediction all along has been that Frederick Anderson can't play in the playoffs.
Freddie Anderson fan club, right?
If you could play Freddie Anderson only the games he decides to be good, which are half the games. I mean, listen, man, we're Leaf fans. Who better to ask than us? And it's not like, man, Freddie gave us some great regular season years, but there were years where Toronto outplayed their opponent, and Freddie was like, "Nah, I'm going to let in 6 tonight."
He put up some wild game 3s though.
He sure did. Why
are you laughing? I said that with a straight face.
Did. So, I think at the end of the day, good for the Devils. It makes the series interesting. And Drew, was it 10 Kraken have scored total? Yeah. In the 10 Kraken in 3 games have scored. 10 different players for the Kraken have scored. Remember, 16 scored in the first round. You got another 10. Talk about a balanced attack. And by the way, Seattle is up on Dallas.
I think my blind spot might be slowly dying. I think I'm starting to see it.
There's a glaring issue that happened with Dallas.
What is it, Jesse?
Their top player went down. Mira Heiskanen
is that bad?
Drives everything on for the Dallas Stars. It's Jake Ottinger, it's timely offense, and it's Mira Heiskanen, who played the most minutes out of any player in the NHL this season. He averages the most time on ice. He played the most cumulative minutes, and their entire defense drives through him. And when you take him out of the game through an errant shot to the face, it's going to be difficult to win hockey games.
He had his performance when Dallas went to the final in the 2020 bubble. It's one of the most underrated playoff performances in recent memory. Just no one cared or cheered for that Dallas Stars team outside of Dallas. Mm-hmm. Everyone was just like, okay, well, Anton Hudobin and his band of merry men can lose any moment now. And then they just chose not to.
One of the most underrated players in the NHL, period. And they were talking about how he was held out of the game and it had a lot to do with the score. There was no reason to throw him back in, but I haven't seen an update on if he'll be available for Game 4. But if they don't have him, it's going to be really tough to win the series. Also, Jake Ottinger laid an egg for one of the first times in his career in the playoffs where he looked shaky and not good. So I don't expect that to happen again. But if they don't have Heiskanen, it's going to be really hard to beat the Seattle Kraken team when they score 7 goals. And how many different players scored those 7 goals?
A million.
How many? What do you think?
7?
I have no idea.
8.
Correct answer, 7.
Wow.
7 different players, 7 goals.
I suppose that makes sense.
That is unreal for the depth on the Kraken, and we've underrated their goaltending because
everything.
Grubauer he's good all of a sudden, and the defense, and then the timely scoring. And if Dallas doesn't have Heiskanen, I don't see them winning the series.
It's hard to imagine, though, isn't it? Hard to imagine. Like, imagine you say to yourself 2.5, 3 weeks ago, okay, so I'm going to give you a little heads up. pick Seattle and Dallas in your bracket. I'm me from the future, and you wouldn't trust me from the future because I get so many things wrong. But if it were Jesse or Steve from the future, and they told you to do that, you go okay, and then you go pick Seattle to go up 2-1 in this series and have them 10 different guys on Seattle score against Ottinger in 3 games.
I do know someone. I don't know what his second round picks are, but this person has worked in the NHL. He went 8 for 8 in the first round.
Whoa!
Which
good for him.
included betting on the Kraken to beat the Stanley Cup champions.
I had that as well. So
Betting on the Toronto Maple Leafs to end a 19-year drought. And betting on the Panthers
to beat Boston.
And then I regret to inform you that in the second round, he picked Panthers in 4.
No way! No way! Who is this person? Oh my God!
I'll never tell.
Wow!
Yeah.
holy crap!
And I thought they were kidding when they told me Panthers in 4, and they're like,
Did
"No,
they
that
say
was
why?
earnestly my bet." Well, no, but I'm hoping to have a conversation with them.
Who's their? Do you know who their Stanley Cup pick is?
No, so I will get.
Can you find it out?
Yeah, we need to know.
I gotta make a sizable bet on their pick.
I mean, they have a perfect bracket so far.
Holy cow!
Yeah. Yeah. These, some people in hockey really know hockey.
Then this person isn't even in hockey anymore.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I would be hiring them as my GM immediately. So I guess the next thing is obviously tonight you've got the only game on the schedule. Because it's 3 last night, and now we have 1 tonight, and then 2 the next day. Golden Knights Oilers. I mean, listen, you said it earlier, Steve. The Oilers took the Golden Knights spine and ripped it out of their body through their mouth.
Oh my God.
What do we expect from tonight, guys?
I'm starting to pick up on the trend that hockey Twitter is also noticing. Not a ton of close games in these playoffs, eh?
That's a good point.
Like it's
Leafs are
usually
most of them.
Yeah, like almost every series is a dogfight, and there's maybe 1 or 2 games that get out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
But you couldn't possibly watch game 1 and 2 of the Oilers Vegas series and definitively say who's better.
Yeah,
right.
That's the thing. They're very close, and for Vegas, the only problem I really thought they had was just the penalties. You can't take penalties versus the Edmonton Oilers. They had the greatest power play of all time, at power play percentage of all time in the regular season, and now in the playoffs they're running at above a 50% clip.
Now,
If you take a penalty versus the Edmonton Oilers, there's a greater than 50% chance they will score on that. And early in game number 2, Vegas took 2 penalties, and for the rest of the game, the shot.
Well, what Bruce Cassidy has to do is hold up 5 fingers and 1 finger. Because, here's the thing. Penalties should rarely be even. Mm-hmm. They should be even in evenly matched games. And officials are hell-bent on making them as even as possible. The Edmonton Oilers should almost always have the edge when it comes to power plays. Now, they do have some rugged guys, rough guys, borderline, not so borderline, dirty guys. But, McDavid and Draisaitl should be drawing at least a penalty a game each. McDavid especially, you see some of the stuff he goes through. If they call the game, I said this earlier in the season, McDavid had the best season of the cap era, and it should have been better. Mm-hmm. If they called games if they called every infraction, or even 75% of the infractions that McDavid has to endure any given game, the Oilers would be spending half an hour on the power play every night, and they would just be running everyone over, and he would have 250 points. The one thing I would be wary of is we know this isn't going to continue. Vegas could play the exact same way in game 3, 4, and 5, and they won't call it that way.
Yeah.
I always go back to this. It's such an underrated moment in recent years where the Blues were getting called for everything in their series against the Bruins. And Craig Berube didn't even make a particularly compelling argument. He just said, "Hey," and then they stopped. Hey, and then they just stopped, and the Blues got to do whatever they wanted, and they won. So you know, if Bruce Cassidy simply goes, hey, then I think Vegas wins game 3.
Daniel Nugent-Bowman in his game report for The Athletic for the game 2 of Vegas Edmonton, he did a great job breaking down the power play situation. And Vegas is such a physical team, and I think it was 3 of 6 that Edmonton had in game 2. They had six power plays. Yeah.
Oh, they were 3 for 6
on 3 opportunities.
Wow.
And like that's you can't have that. But like to your point, if you just keep playing that way and you keep getting deeper in the series, it might just work out in that you can play this physical game and less penalties are going to get called. So I'm very interested to see how that goes, because maybe Vegas goes in a different route where this power play is so deadly that they have to scale back because they're getting Edmonton's getting all these calls, and that makes them play a little bit more timid, and then Edmonton takes advantage of that and they come away with the series. I don't think it's going to go that way, but it might be a path for the Oilers to win it.
If you tell refs to call more penalties, it almost never works. If you call for them to call less, it almost always works. Mm-hmm. So Bruce Cassidy's got to work that mic. He's got to be a little clever with it. And if Vegas can stay at even strength, they have a chance.
Yep.
If every game is called the way game 2 is, they're fucked. But it's just, we know that's not going to happen.
That 5-on-5 game, like Vegas is so much deeper than any of us give them credit for. Like their defense is stellar. And
2 expansion teams, and we're talking about their depth.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, go figure. They picked a bunch of the best players around the league, and they got all of them. Mm-hmm. Adam, you would know, you would be very familiar with the situation on the refs, and if they take orders from the league to call us penalties, because you and Alan Walsh talked about that extensively last week.
We did,
on
and it's continuing to get. It's one of those episodes you call like evergreen, right? Because it doesn't matter what team you're rooting for, you're not happy with the way that officials are calling things.
Yeah, but everyone was really happy with the episode, right?
I'm sure that there are people that disagree. But few of them are fans. And if you want to know what the fans think, read the comments section under there. Not that the NHL would, but it did garner a lot of attention. And I think it's worth listening to what Alan has to say on it, because here's the thing. He's got nothing to lose by telling you what he thinks on that. Right. And I think that there is I think there's a very honest sort of view on the fact that there are the path to the NHL. I heard from people who were trying to be NHL refs who said he absolutely nailed it.
Like they were applying for jobs.
They were working their way up through the system.
Oh, wow.
And the system is almost non-existent, right? So it's a fascinating thing. I don't want to give away too much, but I would highly encourage you to listen to it.
Subscribe to
even if you have to rage to listen to it. Yeah, just subscribe to it on Spotify.
Agent Provocateur, search it up on your favorite podcatcher, or watch the YouTube video. It's always there. You guys release bangers, and they're so underrated.
Well, listen, I'm happy that we get to do it, and the people that love that show really love that show. And it's every time I see it, I'm like, man, this is great. This is exactly what you want. You want to show that people are like, fuck, this is so awesome. I can't believe, And I know that people only have so much time in their days. So, the fact that, we get to do this show, and then we got the CJ show, and we got the other shows on this network. If somebody's going to jump and listen to that, that's awesome. I love it.
I'm glad everyone liked it.
I want to talk to everyone
especially
in the league.
People within the league.
Hey, listen, it's not always great when you're a fan of a local sports team, but it is always great when you open a can of Tread Lightly from Muskoka Brewery.
Don't shake it. Don't you shake it.
It's the perfect light beer for game day, great to stock the fridge with, and great to share with friends when you're watching your favorite team and crying together. Because if you're going to cry, it's best to cry in a group. Listen, honestly, the whole thing about Tread Lightly is it's an easy drinking beer, no flavor sacrifice, a beer with an approachable profile for approachable people. Aww. Wouldn't you say that? It's actually really just delicious.
I was about to say, they didn't need to write all that. It's just really good.
The one thing too that they said to me, I was on a call with them, and they're like, "Listen, we got the long cans, the 568 milliliter can," and they're like, "Buy less cans, enjoy more time, because you're not having to leave the group."
This is my favorite percentage of beer. I love a good 4%.
Oh, it's solid.
Yeah,
perfect.
That's right in my ballpark.
And you can grab a 2-4 for the May 2-4 long weekend. Muskoka Brewery, and this is important, is independently owned and operated in the heart of Muskoka, employing a team of 120 people. It's a true Canadian handcrafted beer. You can go visit and actually see the tap room and go for a tour at Highway 11 and 118. Nice. Fresh beer on tap. There's tours available, live music on weekends through the summer. And I have to say, they took us on a tour through the factory. Virtually.
I've actually been there.
Oh, have you? Okay, but it's all there. It's all done on site. Local beer. This is as local as it gets. Muskoka Brewery. This summer, tread lightly. Connor Bedard. Draft lottery tonight. Connor Bedard. There are plenty of teams where he could go. Okay. Plenty of teams where people are saying, I really want him on this team. Okay. We got the Ducks. We got the Coyotes. We got Columbus. We got Chicago. We got Detroit. We got Montreal, Philly, San Jose, St. Louis, Vancouver, and the Washington Capitals, which is just weird to see the Caps logo there. One day, Bedard could be setting up Ovechkin next year.
Oh, my God. I'm
6% chance.
I mean, Ovi could set him up, too. You never know.
True.
I just want to point out that on January 13th, when the Canucks were really bad, I put $2 on them. And now, out of all the teams eligible to potentially get Bedard, they have the worst odds at 3%. Well, $2. It's a donation.
So I want to go through this. Jesse, do you have the rules on how the draft lottery works for people that don't know?
Yeah, you want me to read it?
Yeah, is that okay?
All right, determining the draft order.
What website is this?
We're on tankathon.com. All teams missing the playoffs are in the lottery. Teams with the least points get the most chances at winning the lottery. The first overall pick is awarded by drawing of ping pong balls. A team can only jump 10 spots, so only the top 11 teams are eligible for the first pick.
Very important.
If a team in the 12 to 16 range wins the first drawing, the first pick will be awarded to the worst team. The 12 to 16 seed team that won the first drawing is also locked into their new position. A second drawing is held to determine the other lottery winner. Like the first drawing, the second winner can only jump 10 spots, but this time it is using the reseeded order following the first drawing. The second drawing will not affect the teams with locked-in positions from the first drawing. If a 10-spot jump is to a pick that is already locked in, this team will receive the next available pick. Teams are only allowed to improve their positioning via the lottery twice in a 5-year period, beginning with the 2022 lottery. So the Montreal Canadiens are kind of the ones that are affected by this, but they can win it again because they haven't reached the limit of 2 yet. Ties are broken by regulation wins. And that's kind of it for the first overall pick. Those are all the rules.
So those are so boring, those rules. But
you asked for it.
I did ask for it. No, not your fault. Not your fault, but they are so bloody boring.
Anything you want me to clarify?
No, not really.
Okay.
I want to ask you this.
Put more people to sleep.
First off, the Florida Panthers, if they advance to the third round against the Toronto Maple Leafs and Steve's friend becomes correct, according to producer Drew, the Montreal Canadiens pick from the Ben Sherratt trade goes from 17th to 29th.
Oh!
So Canadiens fans who are rooting against the Leafs, I mean, listen, they're in the draft lottery, so they probably don't care about their second first-round pick, but you kind of should.
Silver lining.
Yeah. The Leafs losing do screw the Montreal Canadiens, so at least walk away from that.
So, haha.
But
it was an inside job. We were just in it to screw your pickup.
We got the Ducks, we got the Coyotes, we got the Blue Jackets, Blackhawks, Detroit, Montreal, Philly, San Jose, St. Louis, Vancouver, Washington. Jesse.
Yeah.
Name the one place.
Yes.
That you will. Name two, actually. Name two places you'll be furious. Actually, one. Keep it to one.
Oh.
One place you'll be furious if Connor Bedard ends up blank.
Oh, okay.
With this team, I'll be upset.
Okay.
What will it be?
The place I'd be most upset Connor Bedard to end up would be most upset. Probably the Canucks.
Pick one.
Canucks. Yeah.
Why the Canucks?
I don't want their organization to be rewarded for the way they've handled this season.
That's fair.
Is that succinct enough?
Or their last decade, really.
Oh, wait.
Well, this new regime has only been there for like a year
right.
and a half.
And for them to be rewarded for it.
They handled it nearly identically to last season?
Yeah, with under new people. Mm-hmm. That's my answer.
Steve.
I feel no. It's a tie between Montreal and Detroit. because they are in the Leafs division. It's nothing against those teams or those fan bases. It's just the Leafs are having a hard enough time coming up with wins as it is, and I don't want the best player not currently in the NHL to join your hockey club.
Dave Bastel mentioned the Chicago Blackhawks in our segment with him, but I want to say that for the same reasons that Jesse chose Vancouver, I will choose the Arizona Coyotes. I'm not a fan of bad behavior being rewarded. Vancouver and Arizona are absolutely my choices for the same reason. I'd rather see Connor Bedard light up the Toronto Maple Leafs for the next 15 years in Montreal than watch him go to the Coyotes or the Vancouver Canucks and reward those groups for bad behavior. I know that the Coyotes are, trying or whatever. What? I know. Listen, there's a narrative out of Arizona that we somehow hate them and don't want them to survive. That's never what this has been about. It's always been about the NHL having that team on life support and picking shitty owners who can't get it done. That's what it's about.
Connor
and it's about being Canadian and going, we're losing franchises who are at least people go, at least they have an arena. All of the reasons that you could bring up that the Coyotes have started and stopped. And by the way, Coyotes fans, this is not targeted at you.
No.
If you're a Coyotes fan, you're among the most passionate fans the NHL has.
Yeah.
Why are you okay with them letting you treat you like this?
We shouldn't have to explain why playing in a 5,000 seat arena is bad.
But the people down there who are doing the media keep saying that we hate them. We don't. We don't hate you. We think you're fucking fantastic, actually.
Listen,
what's unbelievable is that they have fans at all based on the way they've treated people. I think the Vancouver Canucks are the same way. That ownership group, that management group, whatever the hell is in the water in Vancouver with the Canucks right now, ever since their last run of the Stanley Cup Finals, they suck. Blow it all up. Get them out of there. And do what your fans have been begging you to do for years, which is rebuild this team. They're not good. You're not good. Stop acting like you're good. Oh, if we could just get a Vezina season out of Thatcher Demko, we might make 8th place. Great. Good for you.
Here.
Like, what a joke.
I got a number for you, Adam.
Yeah, give me.
If Connor Bedard goes to Arizona, he'll be playing in a smaller rink.
Then the Regina Pats.
The Brandt Center in Regina is 6,000 seats.
They can't build that arena in Tempe fast enough. Please let this not be a topic anymore. I hope they get it done.
I think that sentence is too long if you're a voter in Tempe.
Why is that?
They can't build that arena.
Well, there are concerns about that. There are concerns that vote could go sideways.
Gary showed up.
They're going to make a Kevin Costner movie about this.
You think so?
Yeah.
Like a good BC movie?
Yeah, like what is it? The draft?
Yeah.
The NFL one? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's going to be about how I always knew it would work. I always knew it would work.
Jesse, were you going to say something there? Or am I?
My pick for the team I want Bedard to go to is the Canadians. I think it'd be cool.
I think that's the best fit for him.
No. Also no.
I think it's the best fit in terms of like him being a superstar because A, it's Montreal and they're a hockey hotbed, but B, Marty St. Louis seems to be really good with young players. And the last thing I would want is Connor Bedard to end up on a team with a Dom Ducharme clone and be like, well, he's not back checking the way I want him to. So we're going to start him on the 4th line.
I'd like to see the best hockey franchise in the National Hockey League, the best fan base in the National Hockey League, be rewarded after all of these years of tanking, which is essentially 2 years because they were in the Stanley Cup Final in 2020.
Yeah, that's right.
I'd like to see them rewarded with Connor Bedard. And I think for the sake of hockey history, if we all expect Bedard to be what he is going to be, and that is a generational talent, one of the best players in the NHL, it'd be awesome for the sport to have that career exist in Montreal.
Who's the most fun pick for you, Steve?
I know you guys won't like this. The Vancouver Canucks. Now listen, I don't
Straight to jail.
I agree. I don't like the idea of their management being rewarded, but getting to watch Connor Bedard versus Connor McDavid every Saturday forever Sounds great.
Why can't you go play for the Ducks?
Because no. We go with the Canadian one.
Just put him on a West Coast team. What are you talking about?
No.
Canadian team. You want my Canadian team?
I want him on a Canadian team. Keep him in Canada.
Put him on the Ducks.
The Canucks.
No. No.
Can't be the Ducks. No.
Can't be the Canucks.
No.
My second pick was the Sharks.
I think the most fun one for me is St. Louis because their retool would be over. They're already under the radar as a team that I'm picking to be right back where they were a couple years ago in the next 18 months. Whatever they get done at the draft, and it's going to be quick. Armstrong is not messing around. He was in on Timo Meier. You just watch. The St. Louis Blues are coming back, and they're going to be great. They just got to get rid of that boneheaded net.
Hey, we were talking about if things go wrong on Wednesday for the Leafs.
Uh-huh.
That's my pick.
What for the Leafs GM?
Marner.
Stop.
For who?
We're not talking about that.
For who? Jordan Binnington for Mitch Marner, 1-for-1.
The Leafs needed some snarl, so they picked up Binnington to punch air.
I'm afraid for Bedard to go to St. Louis, and it's like when a kid goes to high school and he makes a bad friend, and that's like a bad influence. Like, what if Binnington gets in his ear?
Don't poison my boy!
And then all of a sudden, Bedard's this like bad kid, you know?
I think when Bedard scores 30 goals on him every practice, he might stop listening to him.
We'll see. Hey, let's do the press conference.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
First question comes from Sheldon Keefe, who'd like to tell you guys that he's puzzled by the results of game number 3.
What? What do you mean?
Obviously, it's felt a lot more like we've been through in the past. It's been challenging. It's been difficult to understand. Yet, it's our reality, and it's where we're at. It's been a mixed bag in this series so far. At times, we've played extremely well, and then haven't converted or haven't gotten rewarded for it. At times, we've been in control of the game and have given up a lead.
He's got to be positive. He can't be down. He has to be positive. He has to say that. I don't blame him. I don't blame him for that. I don't think anyone's buying it, but I don't blame him for it.
On the scoring chances for his star players, they've had a lot of scoring chances in this series that haven't fallen.
That's true.
Haven't gone their way.
100%.
They were dominant in many ways in game number 2. It's meant to be hard. Anything worth achieving is hard.
CJ not quoting the Leafs in his article shows you how good of a fucking writer he is.
Well, I mean, I don't know how it would have added to anything. And listen,
I don't want to hear that
coach
shit.
has to say that, though.
No, I know.
Has to say it.
I know, but I don't want to hear that shit. That shit means nothing. Fuck every syllable. He was right. CJ was absolutely right.
This is from our Discord. Go to sdpn.ca, click the link that says join us on Discord. You can join us there. And in the press conference questions channel, Marquise de Montreal writes, "Hey guys, question for you all. If Dubas walks, should the Leafs hire Brian Burke as GM or some other role, considering he is now available?"
No. Eric Tulsky.
Oh, Eric Tulsky would be incredible.
He's the assistant GM in Carolina. Watch Eric Tulsky's. He'd be the guy.
That would be absolutely incredible. I think Burke is going to work in Toronto next year.
For Sportsnet.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he is. He is.
He's going to work for Sportsnet.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
And if he does come to Toronto, maybe as president, but that's about it. One of those upstairs roles.
He would not. The reason he was fired was because the new group.
That's right.
The new group, which were Bell and Rogers, came in and he wasn't their guy.
Yeah. So he'll work in Toronto.
Yeah. He's going to be. Yeah.
For Sportsnet. No. It's an interesting thought, but no.
Next question. This is from Stacko. Given the state of the Leafs defense, would you? That's another conversation for the post-mortem.
Yeah.
Did Dubas build a shit defense?
If it happens.
Given the state of the Leafs defense, Would you give up being able to acquire O'Reilly for a healthy Jake Muzzin?
Ooh.
What are you taking?
Doesn't exist.
Muzzin, first of all, doesn't exist.
Oh no, guys!
Doesn't exist.
He had already taken such a. People are forgetting he had already taken such an obvious step back in his play,
like
2014 Jake Muzzin, or
and what's qualify healthy? As in he can play, or he's without injury ever.
Hypothetical.
no.
We get a healthy Jake Muzzin, so he's 100% healthy.
He was amazing.
No,
when he
Leafs
was.
don't. Leafs
you
don't
get
beat
Ryan
Tampa.
O'Reilly.
Leafs don't beat Tampa without O'Reilly.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
This is from Not Brad Marchand. When can we expect a podcast from Adam's secret moon base?
Well, I mean, it's listen. Where I'm still in talks with the government to fund it.
I liked your outfit
Because
at
I am
Coachella.
a billionaire and you're welcome. That's it. The government should fund this because I'm a billionaire. You're welcome. But secret moon base would be cool. I think it would just be a pain in the ass of like a commute. Like even with a rocket, you're there. What? Would it take the Apollo guys like 3 days?
No, isn't
Space traffic.
Isn't that what's the stat of
true.
like if you could drive a car to the moon? It's not that far.
Oh, I don't know. I
don't know.
Yeah,
If you could drive a car,
I'm pretty sure it's
long
far
would-
as fuck.
Like, how long would it take to drive a car to the moon?
if you drove at 65 miles an hour, which is roughly 100 kilometers an hour, it'd be 153 days.
Oh, okay. I made that up.
That sounded a little bit like
But
Shaq talking about what's farther, New York to Los Angeles or the moon? Have you ever seen that clip?
I haven't seen that one.
It's right up there with him talking about filling up your gas tank more often to save money.
Yeah, it's 20 bucks. It's only 20 bucks.
You just do it a bunch of times. It's only $20 each time.
Yeah.
It's cheaper.
I fucking
Question. How many miles does your car have on it?
oh,
Or
like,
how many kilometers?
like none. Like
'cause you
40,
gotta-
like 40K.
How your old one? Your last one?
40,000.
Your last Maz 3 that you wouldn't pay, that you ended up paying that extra buck for.
Shut up. It was quite a bit. I drove the hell out of that car. It was over 100,000.
If you have 500,000 kilometers or 450,000 kilometers on your car, you can say you've driven to the moon once.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how far it is. It's really far.
So every work van.
By the way, Popular Science asks, is it possible to drive a car to the moon? People are like, no, there is no oxygen and also no roads.
No, I saw Fast and the Furious.
Yeah,
and Ludacris went to space.
What's the next question, Jesse?
What's the next question we should ask? I'm trying to not
Try to
ask
avoid
all of the Leafs ones.
The sad Leaf ones? Yeah.
Eagle Boy 444 Steven wants to thank you because this had them laugh through tears when you said fiddly dee poo in your LFR.
Fiddle dee poo.
Fiddle
Yeah.
dee poo. What is that?
I think what I was saying is basically the mistakes the Leafs made in either game 1 or 2 against the Panthers, it erased all the good they did. And it's like writing a beautiful novel, but in the middle of it is just a page that says fiddle dee poo.
Okay.
And, all the reviews would be like, yeah, it was good, but like there was this page in the middle of it that really took me out of the story, and it was inexplicably bad, and don't know why the author did that. It would have been better if they just left it out.
And we can't print the book that says fiddly dee poo in it.
No, like imagine the best book you've ever read, but like page 45 is just fiddly poo. And then moving on to page 46, the story continues like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Everyone would be like, but what about... The book would be remembered for fiddle-dee poo.
It would never get to publish. You'd say, no, we need to fix this.
And the publisher was like, okay, we're taking this out. And if you put your foot down and said, fiddle-dee poo must stay in the book,
yeah.
Really adds to the story.
You would be traded.
you'd be traded to the Ohio fiddle-dee poos.
I forgot about that. That was really good in the LFR.
That's good.
Last thing. Goose and a Noose writes, that's
a great name.
that's an interesting Discord name. Non-hockey related question. Considering Steve's affection for Red Dead Redemption 2, I thought it would be fun. Did you know that not only are the Pinkertons still in operation, but the company Wizards of the Coast, Magic the Gathering, sent them after a YouTuber that was mistakenly sent unreleased booster boxes? What does any of that mean?
So that's a crazy story. So basically, a YouTuber was given Magic the Gathering cards 2 weeks before they were supposed to come out. Or no, I think a store got them. Yeah, Drew knows the story.
Oh, yeah.
A store got them 2 weeks before they were supposed to.
Okay.
So they sent what is essentially like an ex...
No, it's the Pinkertons.
Yeah, it's the Pinkertons, which are like an ex-detective agency / sort of kind of a militia.
Okay.
To this YouTuber's house to take it back.
Who did? The Magic the Gathering company?
Yeah, they hired the Pinkertons.
Yes.
And who are the Pinkertons?
They were founded in the 1850s by a man named Alan Pinkerton.
Okay.
He was famous for hunting down outlaws in the West. You run into them in Red Dead Redemption, or you run into the Pinkerton Agency, and they were.
Oh, that's.
And it's so bad. They've been in business for 773 years.
Wow.
And there's actually a law on the books with the federal government in the United States that says no federal arm of the government is allowed to do any business with the Pinkertons.
Wow.
Under any circumstance.
And that
They
law...
were like cowboys, like legit. 170 years
Essentially,
ago. Wow.
A sanctioned
at
gang.
a sanctioned gang, a sanctioned bounty hunter. Essentially is what it turned into.
That law was signed into law, I believe 5 years before the events of Red Dead Redemption 2 actually take place.
No way.
I believe it was 1894, and that was the first thing that stood out to me in the story is, wait a second, that game takes place in 1899.
Yeah. They also used to strike break. So what would happen is if there was like a union on strike, they would send Pinkertons in to start fights and create brawls so that the public would turn against the labor unions and say, they're just trying to fight and blow things up or whatever. And it's really bad.
And
so they still exist today.
Oh, yeah.
And the Magic the Gathering company hired them to go get these.
Hasbro?
Is it Hasbro?
I'm not sure. It doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty wild
That's
history.
sick.
Yeah. Pretty wild. So anyway,
All right. What happens Wednesday night?
I think the Leafs win. I honestly do. I think they're keeping us. They're keeping this thing alive, man. I think the Leafs win, and I think your friend is finally wrong, Steve. Big comeback incoming. Remember, it can't be a great comeback if it doesn't start out as a disaster.
Shut up.
The Steve Dangle Podcast.
Powered by Sports Interaction. Want to bet?
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection.